Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Hope you're all safe and well. People are showing their hangars these days, and as I can't fly at the moment, I thought I'd do the same. As you can see, I hang my aircraft from the ceiling. Anyway, let's go back and we'll do a walk round. So starting with this is the FMS 800mm F4U Corsair. It's waiting to be maidened. That's all I can say about it really. FMS super easy, and it really is a plane that is named well. It is super easy to build, it's super easy to fly, it's just a nice all-rounder aircraft, really suitable for beginners and also for experienced pilots to mess around with. And hiding over here is the Hobby King Super Kinetic Sports Glider. Tiny little power glider. I've never glided it, I've always powered it, and it goes like a bat out of hell, and it's just a great bit of fun. This is the Arrows Hobby T33. Been maidened, but that's all, one flight. I've got to do a few more flights on it, but it's a real nice aeroplane, I love it. And then just next to that you have the FMS Kingfisher. Nice aeroplane. STOL capabilities. The flaps are so powerful on it. I've actually looped it just by applying flaps, but it's a great aircraft. I love flying it. Here is the FMS HS123. I've just finished doing a complete restoration of it. It's ready to be maidened. It's purchased built, believe it or not, and it was posted built. Had a bit of damage, but it's great. It's going to be interesting to see how it flies. We have the Horizon Hobby F4U Wildcat. It's a great machine. This one's been through the wars a bit. It's a perfect flying machine. I just love it. As you can see, I painted it in my own colours. Great machine. I don't know why they stopped producing it. Let's move just in front of that. You've got the Hawker Tempest. This is the Hobby King 800mm wingspan. Out of all the little planes that Hobby King are now selling, to me this is one of the most stable and easiest to fly. It's great, I love it. Here, as you can see, we've got my Twin Otter, again Horizon Hobby. Great aircraft, flown many times, crashed once, rebuilt, and then flown many times again. Hence the Phoenix over there on the tail. The E-Sheen F16, built but not flown, waiting for a maiden. This is beautiful. This is my Pandora. It's a 4-in-1 aircraft. It can be nose wheel or tail dragger, and it can be high or low wing. Having said that, they're not easily interchanged, so I've made it a low wing and I've kept it a low wing. It's not a fast machine, but it flies gorgeously. It flies as though it's on rails. This is the Arrows Hobby Hawk, painted in the Red Arrows scheme for their 50th anniversary. I failed to launch on the maiden, hit the ground, so a friend of mine at my club maidened it for me, and he's just a fantastic flyer. He's an aerobatic flyer, and he did a brilliant job, trimmed it all out for me, got it going, and I have flown it several times since then, although my launches leave a lot to be desired. We have the T7A. This is by X-Fly. Built and not maidened yet. You can see on this one I've added an extra pilot. I thought it looked better with 2 in the cockpit. And of course here you can see I've upgraded the nose wheel. And then finally here you have the Arrows Hobby Viper. What a fantastic machine. It flies brilliantly. I love it. Absolutely love it. That's all the aircraft I currently have hanging from the ceiling of room number 1. But then we come down to here. And over in that corner we have the FMS PA-18. This FMS PA-18 is an absolute joy to fly. It's large enough, it's got a big presence, it's chunky, it'll take off from anywhere. I mean, just look at the size of those wheels. It's a great camera platform, you can load cameras on it and it doesn't affect it at all. It's just a dream to fly. This is another classic example of where I've taken away the 2-blade prop and put a 3-blade prop on it. I love this aircraft. Followed by the Arrows Hobby Technam. The Arrows Technam is a nose wheel. Yeah, the Arrows Hobby Technam is a fantastic flying machine. It really is good and I've flown it a lot. I love it. It can handle the long grass of the field very well, even though it is a tricycle undercarriage. Good aircraft. Then we come to the Arrows Husky. This is a 1.8 metre wingspan. Now the Arrows Husky is waiting for a maiden. Built it, but it just needs to be taken up and flown. Then we come to the FMS Ranger, a little bigger. Still a 1.8 metre wingspan though. Very much the same as the Husky in that I have built it, it's ready to go, but it has not been maidened. It's another one I'm looking forward to. You can see it's a tricycle undercarriage, not a tail dragger, so it makes it a little bit different to the Husky. And something I do, which I have not mentioned, is on most, not all, but on most of my tail draggers or high wing aircraft, if I can, I will replace the 2-blade prop with a 3-blade prop, and I have done that on all the aircraft, these 5 that are in a row that we're talking about now. So it's waiting for a maiden, looking forward to this as well. And then finally, just over on this side, we have the Horizon Hobby Cessna 150T, which is the tail dragger, and it's a 2.1 metre wingspan. As with the other two I've just spoken about, this also has not flown. Built, ready to maiden, and this I'm really looking forward to. So let's go into my study or work office and see what we've got in there. Okay, so here's my study. Let's start from here. That is an 800mm Mentor, and it's made by Top RC. It's flown 5 or 6 times. It's a great little airplane, nose wheel. I just love the looks of it. The Spitfire there and that rather dusty P-47 Thunderbolt are not RC models. They're made by a company called 21st Century, 1/18 scale plastic models. And this is of course the Horizon Hobby F-15. It's built but not flown, so it is awaiting a maiden flight. And this is a Merit Focke-Wulf FW190A-5, 1/18 scale. Again, it's not an RC plane, it's just a model. A10, well that's X-Fly, built not maidened, and again with this one I have modified the front nose wheel. This 109 is a plastic 21st Century Toys, but I do have the Durafly one in the box waiting to be built. The FMS Zero, this is the 800mm one. It's flown 2 or 3 times. Very nice little aircraft. This is the FMS T28 Trojan, 800mm wingspan. It's a brilliant flying machine. Absolutely love it. It's flown quite a lot. This is a 21st Century toy, or it might be a blue box. Again, 1/18 scale Stuka, not RC of course. And then here we have my rendition of the Black Sheep Squadron F4U Corsair. And this is a Hobby King Corsair. It's had a real wild life. Crashed many times, rebuilt. I think I finally mastered it. And one of the keys that I believe is that prop, and that is an FMS prop for their Corsair. Little modification on the front and it runs fantastically. Mustang, that's the 21st Century toy 1/18 scale plastic. And that's a Hobby King 800mm Sky Raider. It's flown, it's a great machine, I love it. So radio control wise, that's 7 aircraft in this room. And of course I have the aircraft in the garage. So this is how I store my aircraft in the garage. I hang them up by their tails on bungee cords onto hooks that are screwed into the ceiling. Couple hanging up in the ceiling itself, as I do in my rooms. What I've done here, I've basically taken all the aircraft you've just seen that were hanging from their tails and I've lined them up. What I thought I'd do for you is go for each one from the front, which happens to be a Bixler 3, but I'll start with the Bixler 2, all the way down the line to the, what looks, I hope, like B-17 wings at the end there. So here's the first of the aircraft. It's a Bixler 2 by Hobby King. The first aircraft I purchased when I went back into flying 2 years ago. I thought if I get a nice pusher, I can hand launch it myself without any difficulties. 1.5 meter wingspan. It's got flaps, and it's also quite good as a camera platform. That silver cockpit can be taken away, and you can put a little flattened cockpit where you can mount a camera. And it's a great little flying machine. I love it. Here's a Bixler 3. Now the Bixler 3 has a fractionally bigger wing. It's a different designed wing. It's still a pusher. It comes with an undercarriage, so you can actually rotate off ground. The other nice thing about this is that the whole front can come away and a wooden camera mount can be put in its place. On this one, you'll notice that the motor is actually sticking out of the pod. That's because this has been upgraded. Bigger, more powerful motor installed. And again, it's a great flying machine. If I have any criticism about the Bixlers, is the decal work. The paint just flakes away, and the only reason the paint is still on these is because I've covered them with clear packing tape. The aircraft fly really well. This is the Skynetic Shrike. It's from Motion RC. It's got a slightly smaller wingspan than the Bixlers, 1450mm wingspan. It's a great flying machine. Honestly, it flies as though it's on rails. It also has flaps, folding prop, so you can power it up as long as you've got your motor brake on through the ESC. The prop will fold backwards and you've got a glider. It's a nice plane. Nice plane. Right, now this one, interesting. This is Freewings F8 Crusader. It's a 64mm EDF, sold by Motion RC, or that's where I got this one from. It's sold as a beginner's EDF, which is a load of nonsense. It's quite a difficult aircraft to fly. It's strange in that it's flown as a delta, in that you have a push rod joining your ailerons to your elevator. So you're actually flying elevons. It's crashed, as you can see by looking at that wing. There are far, far better aircraft to buy in the 64mm range, but this was my first venture into EDF jets. It's certainly not the most relaxing and enjoyable EDF jet to fly, and how they can say it's for beginners, I don't know. I don't recommend it. Ah, yes, the fantastic Hobby King TTX. As you can see, it's been through the wars somewhat. The aircraft actually has a design issue with it. It uses pin contacts on the underside of the wing to contact to your receiver in the fuselage. So there's no actual proper physical link. It's through sprung-loaded pins. And the problem is, it doesn't matter how you build this, the wings flex. And when the wings flex, the pins can lose contact and it hits the deck. Now, I learned that the hard way. I then went onto forums and found out that this is a problem. So I've actually hardwired everything. And since I've done that, I haven't had any problems with it. It doesn't have a front cowl because, as with most of what Hobby Kings sell, you can't get the spares. I believe they still sell this, but you cannot get spares for it. It looks as ugly as sin, but it flies well now, so I quite enjoy it. The Hobby King Night Walrus, it's a great flying machine. It's really nice to fly. It illuminates wonderfully, as you can see here. And again, it's not a small machine. It's 1.4 meter wingspan. It comes with flaps. One complaint about it are the wings. Connecting the wings, feeding the wires through into the fuselage and trying to connect them to a receiver is nigh on impossible. So when I built this, I actually had to cut a load of foam out of the bottom, a big hatch, do everything there and then reseal the hatch. So I would not recommend getting this if you have to dismantle it in order to transport it. I love flying it. It's just great fun. And here's my Dynon 86 Texan. All Dynon aircraft, there is a bit of modelling to do with it. You have to build these and you have to put the effort in to make the build right. This was a real pain in the bottom during the build process. Things wouldn't fit properly, they wouldn't line up properly. Typical Dynon manufacturing, it was bodged, glue all over the place, all sorts of silly little things. The results are worth it. This one I had to put my own flaps in. So again, this is full flaps, retracts, and it's worth the effort because it flies beautifully. It's a nice flying machine. Ah, yes, here we have Sharky McSharkface. So Sharky McSharkface is in fact 65mm EDF model. This was the very first iteration that came out, and it's actually made by FMS. This particular one was sold by Nitro Planes. You can see on the top it's got lots of bandages there. That's because the ESC was stuck inside the body, it was overheating, and I was getting less than a minute's flight out of it. So what I've done, I've actually boosted the ESC from a 30 to a 50, stuck it on the top so it's exposed to airflow, and I get about 3 minutes out of it now. It's over 15 years old, and it is EPS foam. It's quite brittle. The ailerons dropped off. It's good fun, and it looks really weird in the sky. It's a completely discontinued model, and I'll get it out in the summer just for a bit of a laugh. To save anyone asking, yes, the hand comes out before it flies. Durafly Ugly Stick. What can you say about an ugly stick? Well, it's ugly. It flies brilliantly. The only problem with this one is the undercarriage is a weak design, and I've managed to rip it off. It's been repaired now, and it's nice and strong. This is another example. It came with a 2-blade prop, but I think it enhances the look having a 3-blade, so that's why I do it. And this is the Optera, the 2-meter Optera. What a wonderful, wonderful flying machine. It is dismantled by using some special twist plugs, and the wings will come off. It's got camera mounts. You can see a camera there mounted on it. It's got a nice big internal bay. It's beautiful. It flies fantastically. It's a bit cumbersome when you first get it to try and hand launch it yourself. I've never had a problem with hand launching it, touch wood. It's fantastic. It glides beautifully. One of the things you have to keep in mind with this, it needs a big approach. The secret to landing this is, in fact, cut the power, glide it in, get close to the ground, and close to the ground I am talking about 4 inches off the ground, and just let it come in. It's fantastic, the glide across the ground. Yeah, I really, really do like this. And here we have its little sister. I think this is a 1.2 meter Optera. Completely different. The wings on this one are held on by magnets, so you literally just slide it together. There's no special clips or anything. Much easier to hand launch. It doesn't glide as well. It doesn't have the wing effect or the ground effect, because the wing's much smaller. But this one does have altitude hold on it, which is brilliant, because you can come down for a low pass, get your approach right, get the height you want for your low pass, switch on altitude hold, and just let it rush past you. You don't have to do anything. It's a good bit of fun, and as you can see here, I've got a great big Runcam 2 stuck in its nose, and it handles it very well. Well, what can I say about this? It's a retro, old, discontinued multiplex cargo that I've repainted to make it resemble a B-17. I know there's lots of things that are wrong with it. It's been restored. It is, however, still running on what are called brushed Speed 400 motors with gearing. It runs on nickel metal hydride batteries. It has a bomb bay. It's great for putting in sweets or strips of ribbon with 5 gram lead weight stuck on the end of them, coming along the field, opening the bomb bay and just dropping all the brightly coloured ribbons out. It's ready to go. I've just got to get enough courage to get it out there and fly it. Arrow's Hobbies T28 Trojan, 1.1 metre wingspan. Our relationship didn't start off well. On its maiden flight, I smashed it to pieces. I have rebuilt it. This is the rebuilt one. It flies fantastically. It's as if it's on rails. It's got flaps, retracts. It comes with a 3-blade prop. It is, of course, tricycle undercarriage. If the grass is too long, if the grass is too wet, that prop is about 1/4 of an inch off the grass. You can't get it to take off. But on a nice summer's day, when the ground is firm, it leaps into the air, and it is so stable. It's a wonderful Trojan. And this one, I decided to get the Arrows Hobby one because it's a bit different. It's not a Navy version, which all the others seem to be. It's a United States Air Force version. But these colours grow on you. Some people hate it, but once you've had it for a while and you fly it, they look fantastic in the sky. Totally recommend it. Now, apart from the Bixlers, this Horizon Hobby Carbon Cub SS, this is the version 1, was the first real aircraft that I purchased when I came back into the hobby. It's full of electronics. It's got a GPS system in it that gives you virtual fencing, it gives you no-fly zones, it gives you back to base functionality, all sorts. And I've never ever used it. I completely switch it off. The only thing I do have available is AS3X and Safe. It flies great. It's a nice little aeroplane. The only thing I'm not happy about with it is you have to put it on its back because the battery bay is between the wheels. I'm not keen on that sort of thing. This one will be going up for sale. I'll take it to my local model shop and see if we can't sell it off. Ah yes, the god-awful Night Radian. Well, it's okay, 2 metre wingspan. It comes with AS3X and Safe. It doesn't need it. I mean, in fact, I've taken the receiver with AS3X and Safe out of it, and it's just got an AR410 in now. It's only got elevator and rudder. Obviously, it's got throttle, but it's got no ailerons. It's got no flaps. I'm not particularly happy with it. It's a very flexible airframe. I've done lots of modifications on it. I've put a carbon rod right down its spine to stiffen it up, and I've also added one of those, I think they're called wing nut remote light controllers, so I can change all the light patterns as it's flying. The Top RC Swift, well, it's a 64mm EDF sports glider. It's rock solid. The wings are as if they're made of steel. The foam's that compact, and it actually has a square carbon rod running through it. The fuselage is rock hard. You could hold this by its tail at the thinnest point on the fuselage and wave it around like a battle axe and it wouldn't care. I completely failed to hand launch it on its maiden. It smacked into the ground. The only damage on it was the tip of the nose where the air vents are. That's been repaired. Once you realise that you launch this like a javelin, you literally arm back, full power, and toss it up at 45 degrees. It goes and it flies fast. It's a fast machine. It's had 4 or 5 flights. It's a fast sports glider. Yeah, so this is a Skynetic Dragonfly version 2. Well, it isn't. It's actually made by Bancroft. As soon as you take it out of the box, it's got an instruction manual with Bancroft Dragonfly V2 written on it. It is sold as a Skynetic product by Motion RC. Hobby King do one, I think they call it the Skipper, and there's other names for it in other colour schemes. It's an all-terrain plane, I call it. It'll take off on water, grass, snow, mud. It's just a bit of fun, and it flies okay, believe it or not. I've flown it 3 or 4 times in some pretty extreme windy conditions. I'm actually looking forward to flying it in a calm weather condition because I haven't yet. It's great. It's a good bit of fun. Hand launched, of course, belly landing, and the underside of it is as gaudy as the top. I've sprayed it lime green with the black and yellow striped tape all along the bottom of it. So that's a quick look into the aircraft I have in my flying fleet. The first 6 months of 2022. It is always changing. I am always looking for new aircraft or building new aircraft, moving old ones on, making space for new ones. But I just thought a snapshot in time of what's in my hangar at the moment. If you've got any questions about any of them, please ask, because that's all part of the fun. I'm happy to provide you with as much info as I can. So thanks for watching, everyone. Do stay safe, stay well, and I look forward to seeing you later on in the year, some more videos. Cheers.